Welcome back to ScreenRant. Quick warning, there will be major spoilers and rumor discussion for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Still here? Good, let's go. In The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, Rey has not only served as our main protagonist, but brought on a lot of confusion along the way. Is she a secret Skywalker? Why were her parents nobodies? Was Kylo Ren lying?
They were nobody.
They were filthy junk traders.
Well, thanks to some plot leaks and new trailer footage from The Rise of Skywalker, we may finally have some answers as to why Rey has no parents. Let's dive headfirst into the swamps of Dagobah and unravel this mystery. After The Force Awakens was released, Star Wars fans were left with one major question. Who were Rey's parents? The foster kid was abandoned on the planet Jakku, lived a life of poverty, and then could suddenly wield a lightsaber like it was nobody's business. Then, when The Last Jedi was released, we were left with even more questions than answers. The information we were given was vague and led to a lot of theories rather than some concrete encyclopedia-style information. And now, with the release of Rise of Skywalker, we may finally learn why Rey's parents were not revealed in The Last Jedi. The reason? Well, she has none. Until the movie comes out, we won't have all the details, but we can break things down and branch out to cover all of the different possibilities as to how she was created with no true parents. No matter which path we go down, all things lead to the dark side, specifically with Palpatine. And some of the blockbuster footage released at the D23 Expo helps build on this theory. What really comes down to about 2 seconds of footage has some huge implications. We see Rey wearing one of the evil hooded cloaks and holding a red double-bladed lightsaber. The shot seemingly confirms that Rey's dedication to the side of good may have only been temporary, until Palpatine entered the picture again. Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker helps connect all of the dots and really brings a new light, or should we say darkness, to Rey's origins.
I can feel your anger.
Basically, Rey has no true parents because she is a clone, created by Palpatine in an attempt to raise another evil leader in the same way that he did with
Darth Vader.
That's a lot to take in there. Let's break things down a little bit. First, let's talk about the crazy power that Palpatine has. Specifically here, we're talking about the scene with Anakin and Palpatine as Anakin learns about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. In the story, Palpatine talks about Darth Plagueis' ability to save lives, keep the ones he cared about from dying, and how he used the midi-chlorians to create life. So maybe we should assume that Darth Plagueis is the one who created Rey. Well, nope. Darth Plagueis met his demise in his sleep by his apprentice, one who he had already taught all the ways of the dark side to. That person, of course, would be Palpatine.
Ironic.
So even though we never saw it in the films, Palpatine had the ability to keep people alive and create life. And thanks to the Darth Vader comic book series, we know there's one important life he did create: Anakin Skywalker. Using Shmi's womb and the magic of the midi-chlorians, Anakin was born without a true father and destined to follow the path of the Force, eventually being wooed by the dark side and turning into Darth Vader. Well, clearly things didn't work out as planned for Palpatine or Darth Vader, but no worries, because Palpatine had a backup plan. One where he would create Rey as a newer and stronger Force that would prove to serve as a fill-in for Darth Vader. Another attempt at a master apprentice who could rule the dark side of the Force. And the timeline adds up as well. At the end of Return of the Jedi, Palpatine falls down a shaft to his presumed demise. Palpatine has multiple ways to stick around after his physical corpse has been turned into little bits. The first way is through a tethered spirit. While the light side of the Force allows characters like Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi to become Force ghosts, dark side characters like Palpatine must tether their soul to an object. And what better than Darth Vader's helmet? We saw the helmet in The Force Awakens, and the whole piece could hold a lot more secrets than just being part of Kylo Ren's weird shrine.
Show me again the power of the darkness.
Anyway, Palpatine also has the ability to transfer his spirit into other bodies, as seen in the Star Wars Legends Dark Empire comic book. And while those stories are now considered non-canon, the concepts are still there and can apply to the current trilogy, especially where Snoke is concerned. According to multiple theories, Snoke was possessed by Palpatine, mostly as a way to woo others to the dark side of the Force, but pretty much was just biding his time until Rey got older and was ready to be persuaded to the dark side. So here's how more of the timeline works out. Palpatine Palpatine was defeated by Luke and Darth Vader at the end of the Return of the Jedi. 30 years later, we pick up the timeline with The Force Awakens, where we meet a 19-year-old Rey. So in the 11 years between Return of the Jedi and the birth of Rey, Palpatine keeps a low profile, his soul attached to an object like the Darth Vader helmet, or possibly connected to Snoke by now. But how was Rey created? Well, Palpatine relied on his old tricks, using the same method he did to create Anakin, messing with the good old midi-chlorians and some poor victim and forcing her to give birth to a baby they never even planned. Only this time around, the mother didn't give the child an attempt at a proper upbringing like Shmi did with Anakin. Just like Kylo Ren said, they were filthy junk traders.
Who sold you off for drinking money?
While many people accuse Kylo of lying, it's probably true, but these junk traders were merely vessels for Rey's birth, unaware of Palpatine's influence and ability to create new life. Either way, no matter what path Rey chose, the end goal was always for Palpatine to manipulate her, get her over to the dark side, and have a new apprentice to take on these evil deeds.
It is your destiny.
And that's why the Rey you see with the red lightsaber probably is not another clone or a twin. It's most likely the same Rey. Because frankly, watching a Rey versus Rey lightsaber duel is probably pushing the boundaries of fan acceptance at this point anyways. The whole theory adds up and even ties into some of the loose ends we saw in Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. Mainly, we're talking about Rey's vision where she's in a whole room full of Rey clones. The vision itself represents her creation and Palpatine's ability to create life. Rey is merely a pawn in Palpatine's game for evil destruction and control. Now it's time to get really deep with some of the possible spoilers and stories for The Rise of Skywalker. According to a story leak from Mark Stevenson 909 on Reddit, Rey's eventual turn to the dark side is kind of short-lived. Once she is wooed back to the light side, she knows the only way to stop Palpatine's reign of destruction is to end her own life, one of the last remaining fragments of Palpatine's existence after Snoke's demise. So after finding out her birth story, Rey will go on a journey for her end-of-life story as she sacrifices herself to save everyone else and defeat Palpatine for good. Now what about the whole balance to the Force thing? After the dark side is defeated, Kylo Ren also goes on his own journey. Not back to the side of good, but rather somewhere in the middle. Feeling enlightened by his journey with Rey and other Jedi, Kylo is now Ben Solo again, eliminating the title of Jedi and introducing the new gray side of the Force, a complete balance known as Skywalker, hence the title of the movie. Now what would a new Star Wars movie be without some highly visual exposition? Well, if these story leaks turn out to be true, then there's plenty of that we can enjoy as well. First up, we will get to see more of Rey's visions, but she's not just seeing herself this time around. Hearing the distinct laugh of Palpatine, Rey flashes back to her own life, and then to those who have worked for Palpatine in the past. Rey feels a connection to characters like Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and other evil characters he took under his wing. Clearly, all of these characters failed, and it's Rey's creation that presented him with the most control and power. Things only get crazier from there. The Rise of Skywalker will go into depth about Anakin's creation thanks to some midi-chlorian experiments, and tie all of this into Rey's creation as well. So maybe, just maybe, Rian Johnson was onto something after all. The storyline continued in The Last Jedi definitely fits the conclusion J.J. Abrams is supposedly presenting us. Johnson's scenes were just a little muddled. Without the end cap to the trilogy, The Last Jedi left us more confused in the moment, unable to truly grasp what it meant. The whole junk trader thing felt like a huge waste, but with more layers peeled back, it's all set up to create the ultimate twist in the trilogy, and also proves that Kylo Ren wasn't technically lying. All of these elements help connect both the original and prequel trilogy as well, not just through the appearance of Palpatine either. Rey may not be a Skywalker by name, but her creation was done in a similar fashion, and we imagine using some of the same batch of midi-chlorians.
Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midi-chlorian count that high.
So yeah, we imagine Palpatine knows the power Darth Vader had and wanted Rey to have the same effect as Anakin. Between this scene and Palpatine's story in Revenge of the Sith, the seeds were already planted for these plans years and years ago. Because of Anakin's creation, the midi-chlorians are able to spread throughout the Skywalker family tree. The creation of Rey and the connection to the Skywalker family tree also helps explain another muddled part of The Last Jedi: Rey and Kylo's ability to speak to each other despite being planets apart. While the film tried desperately to distract us with Kylo's shirtless body, we get what you're doing there, guys.
Do you have something, a cowl or something you can put on?
We couldn't help but wonder what the heck was going on, but knowing their connection through the midi-chlorians and the creation of Rey in a similar way to Anakin, a lot more of the film makes sense, if this all pans out the way the footage and rumors are presenting themselves. In the end, Rey will follow the same path as Darth Vader. After turning to the dark side under the guidance of Palpatine, she will eventually get a glimmer of light, turn on him, and sacrifice herself to help save the entire galaxy. In turn, Palpatine will finally be defeated, proving to be the true big bad through all 3 trilogies, and the ultimate way to end cap the core Skywalker story. Rey's sacrifice helps add an ideal ending, as sad as it may be. With the storyline ending, people would want to see more of the character and her journey, but this is really the only fitting way to end the reign of Palpatine and prevent another Skywalker trilogy in about 10 years. Wow, that's a lot to take in. Think those spoilers will pan out? Who did you want Rey's parents to be? Did we miss anything that you might have caught? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content just like this in your feeds each and every day. May the Force be with you.